we are going to prepare a very delicious recipe for you today. It is a pan-roasted salmon with lentils. We have our lentils, our green lentils. There are multiple types of lentils that you can use. Just make sure that you look at the cooking instructions on the pack, because each type of lentil will take a different time of cooking. So we're starting here. We have our lentils, we have our onions chopped, a bay leaf, garlic, green lentils, we have salt and pepper, so we're going to get that done. And I have a little fish stock right here. If you don't have fish stock, of course, you can just use water, but also you can easily use chicken stock. Chicken stock is very mild. If you don't have an aversion to chicken stock, it doesn't have a lot of additional flavor. It won't change the flavor of the salmon, but it will provide an earthiness to the dish. We're going to make a vinaigrette for the lentils once we've prepared them. So we have our red wine vinegar, our mustard, Dijon mustard, and our olive oil. To finish off the dish, we are going to be adding some roasted red peppers that have been diced, some fresh parsley, and some fresh thyme. So again, when you're adding herbs, it's a preference. This is a guide for you to use, but it really is important for you to determine what it is that you enjoy most. And then, of course, you can add those. It's not a high concentration of anything, but it is very nice. So first of all, we need a pot. I'm just going to get the pot on. And we are going to take a little olive oil right here. Get that going. We're going to use the garlic. It's been finely minced. I'm just going to give this a little heat and just get that in there. We have our bay leaf. I'm just going to move that over slightly. And our onions. Let me get a small spatula. So this is a task that you could do well ahead of time. It holds very well. It's easy to be reheated. So cooking your lentils ahead, when you're doing something, a dinner party or something like that, it's very easy to do this in stages. So we've got, just to show you, I have the garlic. As you can see, it's starting to go. I want to make sure that it doesn't brown. Again, not that the browning of the garlic is a bad thing. Just in this particular dish, we don't really want it to be caramelized. And now I'm going to add the onions right there. Give it a good stir. Make sure the onions get covered with some olive oil and let that go. And what we're doing is we're going to cook them down so that they become translucent. And as you can see, the onions are fairly solid white, but as we cook them down, so they will become a little bit more translucent. It will continue the cooking process. We're going to be adding our lentils, again, as I mentioned, so we want to bring the lentils to heat. So again, stirring them in very nicely, uniform. We are going to add some salt and pepper at this point, but we are not too much, and we are going to finalize the flavor profile at the end of the dish once it is cooked. So again, we're looking at mixing to make sure they're uniformly mixed throughout, and that the lentils absorb some of the heat from the stove to ensure that the cooking is uniform and nice and accomplished nice and quickly. Okay, we have that. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to add some salt and pepper. Just, again, not too much. And if you have an aversion to spicy food, you don't have to use the pepper. And just, again, the amount of salt that you use is just personal. So it's all about the flavor profile. Again, salt and pepper to get the seasonings going. I can feel the heat coming off the frying pan. I can see that the lentils are absorbing that heat, so they're going to cook relatively quickly. And then, as I said, we can use this fish stock, or we can add water. So Now, the one thing about lentils you have to remember is you do not want them to overcook. So my recommendation to you is add your liquid sparingly. I've just got it slightly below the top of the lentils. Now you can see it right there. There's plenty of moisture there. They're going to cook nice and slowly, but I want to make sure that they don't get overcooked so they don't turn to mush. We want to keep the integrity of the lentils, a little bit of crunch to them, and away we go. So I'm now going to remove this, and I have a second stove on the side, and I'm going to allow them to continue to cook. It'll take about 20 minutes for them to be fully cooked. So we're now going into the second stage of the dish, and that is the preparation of the salmon. So the salmon in this case, as you can see, has been beautiful. They're cut to about 4-ounce pieces. You can do anywhere from 4 to 6 ounces or even 8 ounces, depending on your appetite. But again, the process is the same. In this case, we have Atlantic salmon, but there are many varieties of salmon out there. You get Pacific salmon, cold water salmon, Atlantic salmon, farm-raised salmon, and my personal favorite is Faroe Island salmon, which is from the north of Scotland. In the Faroe Islands, the water is extremely cold. The flavor of the fish is pretty discernible, and that is what I like to use. So, first steps we're going to do is we're just going to season very lightly. Just on the presentation side. So that means the middle of the fish, as you can see. Salt. I've got the induction stove on. Okay, in this case, we're going to use a saute pan to pre-sear the salmon. In the recipe, it does say that you can just season it with a little olive oil, salt and pepper, and then place it into the oven. I like to get a little bit more color, and this will also speed up the process. So here the salmon is quick. The frying pan is nice and hot, as you can see. And this will just caramelize very quickly and speed up the entire process of the oven cooking. All right, here we go. Not going to take very long, as you can see. Tremendous amount of heat. And I know a lot of people are not 100% sure how long they should leave the salmon on, but of course it's only a couple of minutes depending on the heat. Just make sure that the olive oil is getting around, and if you want to, just quickly look at it and you'll see. In the meantime, I am going to bring a sheet pan, a small sheet pan that we have here, get it ready. So this salmon is ready to go, so I'm just going to flip it over. You can see the caramelization has already taken place, golden brown, beautiful. The seasoning is evident, so that your guests are going to really see that you've taken a lot of care in making sure that this is going to be a super, super tasty dish. At this point, I'm only looking to seal the salmon, so I'm not looking to cook it, because we're going to cook it in the oven and continue with the dish. So I'm going to switch off this stove so it doesn't burn. The sheet pan, very simple. And we're just going to place them onto the sheet pan and pop them into a preheated oven. The oven has been preheated to 350, and we are good to go. So again, the salmon is prepared. It's ready to go in. We're just going to cook it for about 10 minutes. And you can see on the salmon, it's still raw in the middle, although it's seared nicely, got nice color. Seasoning looks very attractive and good to go. We have the salmon in the oven. It's roasting now. We have the lentils on a stove. They're continuing to simmer until we get them cooked al dente. And now we're going to make the dressing. This dressing is to be added to the lentils because it's a warm lentil salad. So we're going to add this here. So let me get, first we have our Dijon mustard. So just going to add that. It's all been pre-weighed as per the recipe. Put that. And then we're going to take our vinegar, which which we add there. Get myself a whip just to get the Dijon broken down, distributed nice and uniformly. So we get that there. And then we're going to add the olive oil. It's important for you to add the olive oil nice and slowly so that you don't break the dressing, and you can see it's starting to thicken up. So I'm just going to, on the side of the bowl, and incorporate it. Just keep whipping. Gets a nice emulsification. There we go. Almost done. You see nice creamy dressing there. And then I just take the bowl, shake the bowl a little bit. At the same time, continue the whisking, and that will double the intensity of agitation, and that will make it continually smooth. I'm going to take that. We just add a little bit of seasoning, a little pepper. And just mix that. So as you can see, we're just incorporating all the ingredients. The seasonings are there, well distributed. The emulsification is nice and smooth. This is going to be a part of a warm salad. The heat is going to come from the lentils that are simmering right now. So we're just going to put that to one side. And then I'm just bringing together the ingredients that we're going to use as the garnish for the warm salad. Obviously, we have roasted red peppers. We have some fresh herbs, thyme, and some fresh parsley. If these ingredients were added to the lentils, they would turn bitter because they would become overcooked. And the problem will be that they'll go black a little bit, very dark, and have a bitter taste. So we just don't want to do that. So right now we're ready. I'm going to go and check on my lentils, and then I'm going to check on my salmon. Here we go. As you can see, salmon is beautiful. What's important by when you pan-sear the salmon, you'll notice that there's no congealed blood coming from inside of the salmon because we've sealed it. All of that moisture is going to be contained, and therefore it's going to add to the flavor profile. We are going to just sit the salmon right here now and allow it to relax a little bit. Still super hot, so you don't have to worry that it's going to get too cold, but it's going to allow the meat to firm up and it won't fall apart. Okay, let me go and get the lentils. Okay, we have our lentils. They are beautifully cooked. You see they absorb all that moisture. They're nice and dry. Just make sure that the bay leaf is out of sight, because we're going to take that. I'm just going to take a portion of this because I'm going to plate up a single portion. So normally I would add all the portions of lentils into a larger bowl, but because we're doing a single portion, it'll be easy just for me to scoop a little bit. So we have our warm lentils. Make sure I'm using a slotted spoon to make sure that there is absolutely no additional moisture, because the moisture we're going to provide for this warm salad is in fact the dressing. So we have that one side. It's beautiful. We know it's all been seasoned, but it never hurts to just double check. So just a little test. Get a tasting spoon. Very nice. I'm going to just add a little extra salt. As you can see, these are salt crystals. We're going to add a little bit of dressing in there. Not too much, but just enough to make sure that it marinates all of the lentils. And as you can see, super, super tasty. And just making sure we robe that dressing into that. We are now going to add our roasted red peppers. Since I'm not doing the entire portion, I'll just add a few. This is a beautiful color. Again, This is a kind of dish that you can add mushrooms, cauliflower, zucchini, green beans, any type of vegetable that you feel that you would enjoy. Is now the time is to add it into your warm salad. We're going to take some chopped thyme, just let that in there a little, and we're going to finish it with some really nice and liberal amount of parsley, because this is going to really make the salad pop. So parsley is going to get cooked, so the green is going to intensify because the heat of the lentils, and so it will get cooked. And as you can see, the emulsion has really, it's not watery, it's not runny, it's super nice. Again, very simple presentation. And again, depending on how hungry you are, how much lentils, just place it there slightly off center. And we take a nice piece of salmon. As you can see, it's firmed up, so it's not falling over. And then we just place it on the side, like that. And as you can see, this is a very filling dish. It is a high protein dish, has lots of flavors, lots of combinations here. You have second class proteins in the lentils. You have all of the flavor profile from the Dijon Mustard, the red wine vinegar. So you have a sweet and sour combination. Then the salmon is naturally sweet, a little sweet. It's not sugary, but it is a little sweet, and that's why you get the caramelization on the surface there. So again, a very tasty dish, very hearty,